y'all are not going to believe this, but I ought to be ashamed of myself, but I'm not. Let me tell you what happened. Today, I ran into a lady I used to work with, and she and I never really seen eye to eye. We were not good coworkers. We didn't really. Anyway, but today I seen her, and she was with this other lady. I don't know who, I don't know the connection with the other lady, but she made eye contact with me. So out of politeness, I said, "Hi." I said, "How are you?" And and I said, "Well, you look great." And her friend spoke up and said, "Hi." She said, "My name's Sheila." And she put her hand out. I shook her hand. I said, "Hi, Sheila. I'm Dolly." She says, "Dolly, you smell fabulous. What is that?" I said, "Oh, I'm not sure. Let me think." And so I gave her a name of a couple of perfumes. So I really didn't pay attention this morning. I don't know which one I had on. And she's like, "Well, it smells fabulous." I said, "Well, thanks." And so I looked at this girl that I used to work with. I said, "Well, it was really good running into you." I said, "You have a great afternoon." And I walked off. I was about to die. I mean, when this woman told me I smelled good, what is that scent? I thought I was going to die, because let me tell you what happened. All right, so I had worked at this company prior, and I had kind of just taken a break from it for, 6-8 months. And I'd gone back. They had called me and asked me to come back to work. They were short-staffed and said, would you? And I was like, okay, because it was, 17-hour days. And I mean, I wore right down to the end. I just couldn't. And I said, okay. I said, but I mean, y'all can't just burn me out like you did before. They said, no, we're going to try and stick to a better schedule. I said, okay. So I went to work. Well, by then this woman had started working there. So I didn't need a training day, right? I mean, I'm not really the new girl. I'm new to her, but I'm not really the new girl. So the owner gives me the inventory here, this, that, take care of it. And I said, okay, I'm good. So I went and did my doing things, and I got my customer list together, and I'm doing my thing, and really doing great at it, and which is why they called me, right? They knew I was going to do well at it because I'd done well at it before. And so I'm doing well. Well, she doesn't like that I popped up there and just instantly I've got this big customer list, and instantly my numbers are higher than everybody else. So 30 days in, there's nothing I could do. If I'd have brought her a bowl of chocolate, she'd have hated it. If I'd have brought her a bowl of ice cream, she'd have hated it too. If I'd have brought her flowers, she'd have hated it. I couldn't do anything that she wanted to say, "Oh, hey, that's great." Nothing. And if I said that the sky was blue, in a meeting, she would pop up and say, "No, it's really an aqua purple or something." She just was contrary to anything I had to say. And I didn't interact with her because I understood that she didn't like that I showed up and outshined her. I understood it, and that's okay. And so, but she started then complaining, now more personal. And I had just gotten my cat, Junior. And she said, so I had Junior probably a month. And she instantly starts saying, "I think it's the cat. I'm allergic to the cat." And I was like, "What cat?" I was actually in a different building when I used to take Junior to work with me. And her and I would just be in the same building for, an hour a day, in meetings. And in this hour in the meeting, she would pipe up and have such a fit about her allergies with the cat. She can't stay for the meeting. The allergies with the cat. And I was like, who in here's got a cat? Because I got this little kitten who's not old enough to shed yet. So what freaking cat? So one of the guys like, "No, my wife's got 4 cats, and she's like, "No, I think it hasn't happened. I think it's that cat Dolly has." And I was like, "Oh," and she'd never even been around him, right? And I was like, "Oh, well," I said, "that's too bad that you have allergies." I said, "because cats are really cute." And I let that go. And then when I never engaged with that, and my boss and the owner never engaged with the cat issue, they were like, "Go get some Dramamine." Or go get some allergy medicine. What the hell you want us to do? We're not going to fire everybody who owns a cat. Go sit down somewhere. And they never discussed it with me, but because they recognized what the issue was too. So then she had a problem with the smells from the microwave. I was over there one afternoon working with one of the other brokers, and we were sitting down in the office. The person I was there helping, they had brought some kind of garlicky Italian food leftovers. They had went and put it in the microwave, and then they brought it back into the office. So they're eating while I'm not eating. They're eating because it's their lunch. And she comes down the hallway and has a big to-do. Oh, what is that awful smell? Oh, Dolly, why'd you bring that over here? Well, I never corrected her. I didn't bring shit over here. I never corrected her, and she just went on and on. And the guy, the broker I was there helping, he said, she is such a bitch. And I said, ignore her. I said, ignore her. I said, as soon as you ignore her about this, she's having a fit about the garlic smell. I said, she'll be mad because she thinks somebody did something else. I said, don't feed into it. Don't pay no attention to her. Just eat your lunch. And they were like, oh, okay. So we went on, and nothing come of that. And I never corrected her. No one ever corrected her. That Dolly didn't bring anything over here and put it in the microwave. And then what was it? Oh, I had a fake fur jacket. And I took that to work, and it looked real. I mean, it was a Dennis Basso, and it looked real. And it was just a short-waisted jacket. And so then she had a big fit about the fur coat, how she's allergic to so much animal fur. Now, this is not a real fur coat. This is a fake fur. And she's carrying on about it. And so that office manager says to me, he says, Dolly said, I mean, that coat, I mean, is that like legal to have? I thought they outlawed a lot of fur. I said, this is synthetic. This isn't even real animal fur. So, well, she's saying her allergies. I said, the only thing wrong with her is she's got her ass on her shoulders anytime I come within 100 feet of her. I said, ignore her. And he starts laughing. He says, oh, okay. Well, one afternoon, I go over there and I always wear perfume. And I go in, and she makes a big to-do about the perfume. My allergies. The perfume, my perfume. Well, the manager speaks up and says, well, you had perfume on yesterday. Yeah, but I can't, that cheap stuff. Well, when she said that cheap stuff, buddy, that chapped my ass. I said, you'll have to take your allergy medication. I said, you're allergic to a lot of things. So you should have your allergy medication here at work with you when those things happen. And I just kept right on, never addressed it again. And then a couple of days later, I was over there, and I had my purse with me, and she wasn't there. And as soon as I walked in, one of the guys in that office, he said, I'm so glad she's not here so she can't bitch about your perfume. And I said, you're right. I got in my purse, and he says to me, Dolly, you always smell great. He said, I like standing next to you or sitting next to you in meetings because you always smell good. I said, well, thanks. I said, I like sitting next to you because you're handsome. And he says, I know. Right? We're just kind of playing. Well, as soon as he went off, I took that perfume, I sprayed it all over myself, and I thought, I hope my scent lingers. And then I walked past her office door, and I went, oh, fuck that. I went in, and I sat in her chair. Now, I know I'm covered in this perfume. I just sprayed it all over myself. And I went in her office, and I walked around for a second. I hope that scent lingers in here. I couldn't help myself. I sat in her chair, laid back, rubbed myself all against the office chair. It was a upholstered office chair. So and I left. After that, she showed up about 30 minutes later, lost her fucking mind about, was Dolly in my office? That smell, did she spray that on my chair? And I said, no, I would never spray perfume on a chair because I didn't spray it on her chair. So I felt comfortable. I was saying that. It was truthful. So when I seen her today and her friend said, oh, you smell great. What is that? I thought I was going to die laughing. She looked like somebody had slapped her when her friend said that. I mean, just all the color drained out of her